Monkeynut Audiobooks are proud to present Sunshine Hill. Across the meadow, open the gate, jump over the stream and march on straight. Hop over the bridge, skip to the old windmill. Its broken sail points you to Sunshine Hill. Sunshine, 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 sunshine. Sunshine Hill, Thomas and the Virus. Written and narrated by Elliot Frisbee. Published by Monkeynut Audiobooks. Copyright Elliot Frisbee 2020. Sunshine Hill. It was a beautiful day on Sunshine Hill. It was the kind of day when everyone would usually be out playing, laughing and having fun. There was even a gentle breeze which would make this day perfect for flying a kite. On a day like this, you would often find the rabbits bouncing about, or the squirrels playing catch the nut, the bumblebees buzzing and chasing their friends, and you would most certainly find Mrs. Duck waddling her way down towards the river. Today, however, there was something not quite right. There was absolutely nobody to be seen anywhere. There were no squirrels catching nuts. There were no rabbits bouncing about. Even the bumblebees were silent, which was very strange for bumblebees. In the distance, one voice could just be heard breaking through the silence. It was coming from a rabbit burrow, and it sounded like Thomas Rabbit. Bored, 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 bored. I am so bored. Mum, why can't we go out and play again? Mrs. Rabbit, who had already explained this many times, calmly made her way over to Thomas and explained the reason once again. We can go out and play, but we have to stay away from our friends and loved ones for a short while. There are many animals on Sunshine Hill and all the hills around the world feeling very poorly at the moment, and we have to stay inside to make sure that nobody else gets ill. But Mum, we get poorly all the time, but we still go out and play, said Thomas. This is different, replied Mrs. Rabbit. This is a new type of virus that nobody has ever seen before, and we need to do everything we can to stop it spreading to our friends and family, and to stop it spreading to us. Just then, the phone rang. Thomas, it's for you. Thomas hopped over to the phone. Hello? It was his good friend and next-door neighbour Bruno. Hey, Thomas, would you like to come outside and have a chat? I'm not allowed, said Thomas. My mum won't let me. You are allowed, said Bruno. My dad said that as long as we are 2 meters away from each other, then we can't spread the virus because it doesn't travel any further than 2 meters. How long is 2 meters? Asked Thomas. I don't really know, replied Bruno. About 20 bunny hops, I think. If you stand in your front garden and I stand in mine, then we will be just fine. Thomas put down the phone and explained to his mum what Bruno had said. Okay, dear, she replied. You can go outside, but you must stay in the garden and I will come with you. Thomas leapt up in the air and shouted a big woohoo! He hopped straight to the front door and went outside. Bruno was already waiting with his dad. Hello, he shouted. I wish you could come round and play. Me too, said Thomas. It's boring just speaking on the phone. Suddenly, he had a great idea. He ran inside and came back holding 2 cups and a ball of string. What are you doing? Shouted Bruno. You'll see, said Thomas. He picked up a cup, made a small hole in the bottom, poked through the string and tied a knot. He then started doing the same with the other cup. What's this? Asked his mum. I'm making a phone out of 2 cups and string, said Thomas. That is a very clever idea. Did you wash your hands first? Asked Mum. Thomas looked up puzzled. Why? He asked. Mrs. Rabbit put her arm around Thomas. Well, you will want Bruno to put that cup to his mouth, but if you have been touching it first, then he may catch the virus. But I don't have the virus, said Thomas. We don't know that for certain, Mum replied. Sometimes we can feel fine, but we may still have it. It affects everyone in different ways, so it's best to wash our hands just in case. Okay, Mum, said Thomas. Then he had another idea. Bruno, he called, do you have a plastic cup? I think so, called Bruno. Thomas hopped up and down excitedly. Great, go and get it. Oh, and Bruno, wash your hands. Mrs. Rabbit smiled. Come on, Thomas, I'll show you how to wash your hands properly. Mum, I know how to wash my hands. Of course you do, dear. But at the moment, we have to take special care to wash our hands properly. And when I say wash, I don't mean just put them under the running water and then hop away in a hurry to play. We must use soap and rub it all over our hands and make sure we also wash between our fingers for 20 seconds. If you sing happy birthday to you all the way through twice, that's about the right time. 20 seconds? Said Thomas. That's ages. Mrs. Rabbit giggled. It may feel like a long time, but why not turn it into a game? Have you ever seen how many bubbles you can make in 20 seconds? Trust me, it's a lot. Come on, I'll show you. They both made their way into the bathroom. Now, Thomas, let's pick up our soap, and after the count of 3, we are going to have a competition to see who makes the most bubbles. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you, sang Thomas, and he started rubbing his hands together. Bubbles went everywhere. They went on Thomas, they landed on Mrs. Rabbit, they even floated all over the floor. Bye-bye, virus, Thomas thought as he scrubbed away. I've done it, shouted Thomas when they had finished singing. I won! I've got the most bubbles! Well done, dear, smiled Mrs. Rabbit. And just smell how lovely your hands are. So, Mum, I have to wash my hands like this every day? Asked Thomas. Yes, dear, replied Mum. But you must wash your hands and make bubbles for 20 seconds whenever you go to the toilet, cough, sneeze, or if they ever get dirty. Washing our hands will help stop the virus, but we need to wash our hands throughout the day to help keep the germs away. Now sing that with me, Thomas. They sang together. We wash our hands throughout the day to help keep the germs away. They both laughed and made their way back outside. Come on, Bruno shouted to Thomas. I have my cup. Thomas found a stick on the floor and tied the string to one end and threw the stick as hard as he could into Bruno's garden. Bruno picked up the string and poked it in the bottom of his cup and then tied a knot. When he finished, Bruno put the cup to his mouth and motioned for Thomas to put his cup to his ear. They pulled the string tightly, and suddenly Thomas could hear Bruno's voice speaking in the cup. They had made their very own phone. Did you wash your hands for 20 seconds? Asked Bruno. Thomas put his cup to his mouth and spoke back. Yes, we washed our hands and sang happy birthday to you right through twice. And we also have to remember to wash our hands lots of times every single day. They took it in turns speaking and telling stories of what they had been up to while the virus was stopping them going out to play together. Mrs. Rabbit tapped Thomas on the shoulder. I think other people liked your idea as well. Thomas looked up and noticed that Wendy from across the road was in her garden holding a cup and ball of string. Next door to Wendy, Sarah was also holding a cup and ball of string. Door by door started to open until there were lots of children with their parents each holding a cup and ball of string. They were looking very excited. We can all talk to our friends next door, called out Wendy at the top of her voice. The children smiled and giggled as they poked their string through the bottom of their cups. They tied their knots and then they were holding their very own homemade phones. They took it in turns speaking and telling stories of what they had been up to whilst the virus was stopping them going out to play together. All of them had been doing their schoolwork at home, which felt strange, but they were having lots of fun and trying new things. Bruno had been baking cakes. His sister helped paint her own bedroom, and they both had time to play with all their toys. Thomas was listening to Bruno and all the wonderful things he had been doing and started thinking that maybe this wasn't going to be as boring as he had first thought, and started imagining all the new games he could play. When it was time to go back inside, he said goodbye and went into the burrow. Once inside, he made his way straight towards the bathroom. "Where are you going, dear?" asked Mrs. Rabbit. Thomas smiled. "We wash our hands throughout the day to help keep the germs away." Mrs. Rabbit smiled fondly and picked up a bar of soap. "How about a bubble rematch?" she said. "You're on," said Thomas. 1, 2, 3, go! So it's time to say goodbye to Thomas, Bruno, and all their friends. It won't be long before they're playing together and causing their usual mischief. But that's another story. You have been listening to Sunshine Hill, Thomas and the Virus. Written and narrated by Elliot Frisbee. Music by Andrew Stamp at Monkeynut Sound. Published by Monkeynut Audiobooks. Recorded at Monkeynut Audiobooks, United Kingdom. Copyright Elliot Frisbee 2020. For more information, please visit www.monkeynut.uk.com. Sunshine, 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 hill.